there.
Good evening, everybody.
We're sitting outside. The weather's been so nice.
It's gotten a lot better, hasn't it? The other morning I woke up and it was 68 degrees.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm loving it because it looks like we're going to get some more rain tomorrow. I mean, we didn't have much of a monsoon, and now all of a sudden the monsoon's just hitting in 2 days, and we're getting all the rain that we would have gotten with the monsoon.
Oh yeah, it's just been great.
Yeah.
And tonight, as we set up in our little word of the day, is that we're going to talk about what we talked about last week, except on the other side. Tonight we're going to talk about what do you do after the fight? How do you work through these things when you're both mad at each other, or one of you is really mad and the other one's just, I'm okay, and because that's kind of how Kimberly and I do it.
Right. So last week we talked about just how we argue, and we talked about James 4:1. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but you do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. And when you ask, you do not receive because you ask for the wrong motives.
Which is why we fight.
Right. So, we all fight, and it's so normal, but it definitely, I don't know if you guys can read that. Oh, it's backwards.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be backwards.
Okay, so it takes two people to fight and argue.
Well, I guess that doesn't work, huh?
Well, we're learning this.
It's like backwards, I guess. And it might be backwards on our end, but maybe not on your end, so you'll have to let us know. We started our video a little earlier tonight because it is beautiful outside. We wanted a little bit different setting. It was getting kind of old and it's gorgeous out. So that's why we're doing it a little early tonight. So if you guys aren't tuning in now because you're in rush hour traffic, sorry, or you're making dinner, hopefully you can watch later, but definitely like, share, and put your comments down there. We're here to help each one of you get through any struggle that you have. So back to our arguing and fighting.
Well, one thing I want to say too, though, is that we aren't great at this. We're learning just like you guys are. We don't handle this the best way on how to make up after a fight. We still have all our history of how we used to deal with it. We've gotten a lot better because we've read books, we've been to seminars. We learn a little bit each time we do these kinds of things, but still the history comes up and we still don't make up the way we should. But these are some ideas that we hope will help because it's helped us.
Right. So it does take two to fight. You cannot fight with yourself. I mean, I guess you can in your mind, but but it does take two. So, when we do get into quarrels and fighting and things like that, there's always something like, I think I'm right, he thinks he's right. That's kind of how we fight. We fight like we're both type A, and it's like, well, it's something that I think I'm right on and he thinks he's right on. And now we have Google, so it's really helped us a lot because we just Google it instead of fighting over it a lot of times.
Right. Or we fight first and then Google it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's how it works.
It's just kind of how it works. But literally,
we're not going to hold this up unless it's.
I don't know. Can
one
you
of
guys
you guys
tell
watching,
us?
is this backwards to you guys as well? Do we have to write this the other way? Somebody let us know.
Well, I can't write backwards.
So both of you are responsible for the fight. So just
can
like
you read that normal? Tim, Jenny, can you guys see this? Is it normal on your side? Can you just answer? Because we're seeing it backwards over here, but we're kind of new at this whole video thing.
So either way, so it's like, first of all, it takes two people to fight, like we just showed you. The second part is that you're both responsible for the fight, because if there is an argument, both of you are going back and forth. If you don't respond, the argument doesn't continue.
Right.
So when it comes to making up, it goes to the next thing. Who is the one responsible for apologizing?
Right. So who does? Well, I've gotten better at it. Like my daughter and we all like quarrel and fight within our families. It's just normal. And my daughter and I actually got into a big one Friday, and I immediately after she stormed out, I apologized to her. And I think you have to humble yourself and you have to apologize. I mean, that's what God calls us to do. I had my own responsibility on my side, and she had her own on her side. Just like when we argue, he has his responsibility on his side and I have mine on my side. So, you both should be apologizing for your side and your part in the argument. Whoever apologizes first is the one that's pretty much
the winner. No, not the winner. Just
winner,
kidding.
winner, chicken dinner. No.
The real thing is that who apologizes first? The one who's first convicted.
More mature.
What? No.
No,
the one. I know. The one who really feels the conviction to go ahead and do that. Now, I'm going to say this to you guys because as the spiritual leader, regardless of right or wrong, who's supposed to apologize first? As the spiritual leader, even if you think you're right, there's no reason you can't apologize for the argument. You don't have to say that you're wrong. You don't have to say, I was wrong in the particular subject of the fight. But were you responsible for the fight?
Right.
Yes, because you continued the argument instead of letting it stop. So you have to apologize for arguing when you didn't have to argue.
Right.
There's better ways to do this instead of fighting with each other.
And we have to apologize. You know, that's the only way to grow. And forgive. Like, there was years, like, Jay and I would fight, and we would never, like, make up. It would just go away. And I'm not one to fester. I've always been one to just forgive and just forget about it. But then later on, it comes up, and then we're like, oh, who is right? I'm right. No, you were right. Or I'm right, and you're wrong. And then it comes up again. But, you know, that's not the way it should be. The Bible does say that don't let the sun go down on your anger and don't go to sleep when you're angry. Sometimes you have to. Like, sometimes it's good to. But you should still pray and apologize. And we've noticed lately that we have actually, when we're in the midst of a fight, we'll stop and we'll start praying. Because we know that it's like the enemy is getting in there. And that helps us a lot now. And we also are more quick to respond and say, I'm sorry. Or, you know, hey, stop. We're definitely disagreeing here. I'm hearing you different than what you're coming off as.
It's amazing how when we've noticed that more, when I stop and she'll say something and I react and she'll look at me funny and I'll go, did I mishear that?
Right.
Because for some reason that happens probably 50% of our arguments are over something that she said or I said, and it wasn't even what we said. And then we'll stop and go, wait a minute, that's not what I said. And all of a sudden there is no argument.
Right.
We just started doing that more frequently. And in the past, when we just decided to butt heads and go at it, other things start coming into the conversation, other arguments, personal attacks, all those things that we do. And women are really good at it. And this is no offense to you women, but you guys really know how to get under it. Yeah, it's true. Some guys aren't good at it.
You push my buttons very well.
That's true.
I do have to say.
But personalize when you guys are getting into a fight. And I guess the point is that don't make it personal. Don't attack the person that you're in an argument with personally. If you're going to argue about something, at least argue fairly. If you're going to disagree on something, disagree fairly. And then when you're done with the disagreement, you agree to disagree. You apologize for each other if it did become a fight, and just say, I'm sorry, and then pray about it, how to overcome it in the future.
Right.
Because that's what we've done. It's taken us a long time because we just are two people
Type
A
strong
personalities who just want to be right, and it's been very difficult for us. And yeah, did it almost cause us to divorce? Absolutely. Did Kimberly used to walk away and go, I'm done, and walk out the door? Yeah, because that's how she gets done with it. But that's not what you do. You come back to each other after the argument, get away from each other, take a break, think about it, and then come back and apologize to each other and prayerfully discuss, that you love each other and that's what's important and nothing else.
And then the other thing too is I want to talk about a verse in Matthew, and it's about how we always judge the other's faults when we have a huge plank in our own eye and we have our own faults. And we shouldn't do that. I mean, we shouldn't do that with anybody, but we tend to do that. I don't know why we do that.
Right.
But we need to look at ourselves before we look at somebody else. Like, I can't sit here and say to Jay that he's this way, that way, this way. And we do that. Why? And then I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm pretty terrible myself in those areas. And, like I noticed that with my daughter when we argued the other day. All I did was text her because she wouldn't answer my call, but I text her and apologize and say, I'm really sorry. I didn't intend to hurt you. and I'm sorry I haven't been the best mom to you, and things like that. And we can say that to our spouse. And I've said that to Jay, I'm really sorry. I know I'm difficult at times, and thank you for loving me despite all my mess, And that's what Jesus calls us, to love each other despite our mess. And that's why we need him. And he does work things out for his good, and he does make us into a better person. Slowly, it's, like we said, baby steps. And we always get better and better, and we learn from our mistakes, and we learn from the things that we argue about, and it just draws us closer as a couple. And, and it brings you more intimate, like we have more intimacy and things like that. You won't have that.
When we apologize,
right,
when we talk to each other. And
because you're humbling
yeah,
yourself, and the pride is gone, and the arrogance, and then you're just more humble with each other. And that's when you can really see the love and the heart and things like that. And you have to be vulnerable with your spouse.
Right. Sometimes, and sometimes you can't go back and go over the discussion because it becomes a right and wrong thing. And now there are subject matters that have to be discussed and agreed upon in our lives as a family. Sometimes the argument is that you don't agree on something that's very important to a family decision. Now those are the things that have to be worked out, but you have to find how can you meet together and have an agreement on how to talk to each other so you can work these decisions out. Because if you're going to just fight about it every time it comes up, nothing gets resolved.
Right.
And if it's a major family decision that has to be resolved and you don't agree, you have to work through that.
Like finances.
Well, anything.
Or,
financing.
Finances are huge.
Yeah.
How to parent your kids, things like that. Yeah.
Right.
But, well, we hope you guys, get a lot out of this. We try to share our own experiences and the things that we go through to help you to work through your marriages, because marriage is important, and it really is not looked upon as sacred and wonderful as, because our society,
right,
our society makes it all messed up in movies and everything else, like we've talked about. So just keep plugging away, keep it on, and keep loving each other and forgiving each other, and be the one to say you're sorry, and then you'll see the walls come down. And if you have to take a break and go to timeout, then go to timeout.
Timeout is very important sometimes in the middle of a bad discussion.
Right.
And again, because some of these things have to be discussed, find a place where you can. And some people, when it comes to serious issues in the family, maybe sometimes you need to have somebody in the middle. Maybe
right,
you need to get someone
We've
who's
done it
a wise
several
counselor,
times.
somebody who can talk to you or stand in the middle and just say, hey, you're going in the wrong direction, don't get upset.
Right.
Talk about these things, because these are important things in life, and how you communicate and how you make up after bad communication is very important. Right. So we hope this helps. We hope that you guys will just hang in there with us as we come up with more subjects and things to talk about.
And if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about, or you're having struggles with or issues, and not to say that we've experienced it, but we can certainly try to guide you through it. So let us know, and you can just email us, text us. You know how to get a hold of us. We're all around.
Thanks.
So we love you. Have a blessed week and enjoy the weather. Take
Awesome.
care. Bye.